Thank you, thank you. Merci tout le monde. Donc,
Bonjour tout le monde. Et bienvenue à cette conférence de presse avec le chef du nouveau Parti démocratique. Nous allons commencer avec quelques remarques d'ouverture du chef. Ensuite, nous allons prendre des questions.
And then we'll have a question period one.
Ensuite, nous allons prendre des questions via Zoom, une question et une question de suivi. Hello everyone and welcome to this press conference with Canada's NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh. After opening remarks from the leader, we will take questions in the room, one question, one follow-up, and then we will take questions via Zoom. Jagmeet, it's yours.
merci. Notre vision pour le Canada, c'est une vision où tout le monde peut trouver un bon emploi, peut trouver du logement abordable, pour avoir un frigo rempli de nourriture. Mais malheureusement, ce n'est pas le cas. Maintenant, à cause de la hausse du coût de la vie est plus difficile que jamais. Les gens ont de la misère à joindre les deux bouts. Et on sait que Justin Trudeau et les libéraux ont laissé les grandes entreprises d'épicerie vous arnaquer. Ils ont laissé les grandes entreprises faire ce qu'ils veulent. Et vous payez le prix. Les gens sont tannés avec Justin Trudeau et les libéraux. Les gens disent qu'ils en ont assez avec Justin Trudeau et les libéraux. En même temps, on ne peut pas retourner aux coupures conservatrices. On a vu ce que les conservateurs ont fait dans le passé. Ils ont forcé les personnes âgées de travail plus long. Ils ont coupé les pensions. Ils ont coupé dans les soins de santé. Ils ont coupé les services dont les gens ont besoin. Et Pierre Poilievre veut faire la même chose. Il a déjà dit qu'il veut couper les pensions, l'assurance-emploi. Il veut voler les soins dentaires des aînés, des personnes âgées. Il veut arrêter ce programme de soins dentaires pour les enfants. Quelle sorte de personne veut faire ça? Donc, ce qu'on veut présenter aux gens, c'est le fait qu'on est fiers de ce qu'on a accompli comme une équipe de 25 députés. On a livré les soins dentaires pour les gens ici au Québec et à travers le pays. On est fiers de ce qu'on a accompli. Et maintenant, on veut unir les gens, les travailleurs. On veut unir les gens contre les coupures conservatrices de Pierre Poilievre. Parce que c'est essentiel à ce moment de dire non à la vision divisive des conservateurs qui veulent couper les services dont vous avez besoin. Notre vision, c'est de ramener l'espoir, de dire qu'on peut arrêter les grandes entreprises d'épicerie qui vous arnaquent. On peut protéger les gens. On peut bâtir un meilleur futur ensemble. Ça, c'est notre vision. On a vu déjà qu'avec les libéraux et les conservateurs, les riches PDG, les grandes entreprises ont eu leur gouvernement. Maintenant, c'est à votre tour. I'm going to do that again in English, and then I'll look forward to your questions. We have a vision of our country where people can find a good job, where you can find a place that you can afford to call home, where people can buy their groceries and fill up their fridge, where people can get health care when they need it. But sadly, that is not the case right now. We know that people right now are struggling to put food on the table. They're struggling to find a home that they can call home. And that is directly the result of Justin Trudeau, who has let big corporate grocery stores rip you off. They're making record profits, and you're experiencing record pain when you try to buy your groceries. Justin Trudeau has let them rip you off, and that's meant that you've had to pay the price. People are done with Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. But we cannot return to conservative cuts. We saw what conservatives did when they were in power. What did they do? They forced seniors to work even longer before they could get their pensions. They cut pensions. They cut health care. They cut investments in people. They cut the things that people needed. That's what the Conservatives did. And frankly, that's what Pierre Poilievre wants to do again. He's been very clear. He wants to cut pensions. He wants to strip away dental care from seniors and kids. What kind of person wants to do that? He wants to cut health care. He wants to cut the things that you need, and it's going to take things from bad to worse. And that's why our message is that together, working together, we can stop conservative cuts. We can win for people. We can bring together working people and unite to stop the vision of cuts of conservatives and Pierre Poilievre and bring back a vision of hope for our country. We can build a country where you can afford to find a home to call your own, where you can find a good job, where you can put food on the table for your family and for your kids. We can do that. So our message is this. You're right, it's okay, c'est pas grave. Vous êtes d'accord? Pas de quoi. Our vision for Canada is this, that working together, bringing workers together, we can unite to stop the conservative cuts of Pierre Poilievre. We can win for people. New Democrats can win. We've seen already with conservatives and liberals, big corporations and rich CEOs, they've had their governments. Now it's the people's time. Merci. Merci, je suis prêt pour vos questions. I'm ready for your questions.
We'll start with questions in the room. So we'll go with Raisa Patel with the Toronto Star.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Thanks for taking our questions. The Bloc Québécois has, made a list of demands that it wants to see the Liberals agree to in exchange for their continued support in this Parliament. It's been almost a week since you ripped up this deal. What are your specific demands? What's on your list for the Liberals to still have your support?
Well, we're not looking for a new agreement. So we've torn up the agreement. There is no new deal. What we're going to do in the next Parliament is we're going to fight for people. And we're going to focus on what we've heard from people over the summer, what I've heard from my team, loud and clear. People are feeling the cost of living squeeze. And that means they can't find homes they can afford, and they're worried about putting food on the table. And so we're going to continue to ramp up pressure on how we can get real relief for people. One of the things that we proposed was a price cap on grocery prices for essential food items. That if big corporate grocery stores don't lower the prices, we impose a price cap on the essentials, talking about bread, talking about baby formula. We know that these corporate giants have jacked up the price of bread in the past, ripping off Canadians. We're saying, no, we're going to impose on these companies a price cap on food essentials. That's one of the ideas that we proposed in the past. We're going to continue to fight to make sure people have a better future. While Conservatives want to cut the things that you need, they want to cut your pensions, your health care, we want to build up a brighter future.
And in terms of this by-election in Montreal, I'm wondering, how has the war in Gaza been kind of surfacing for you in this race? Is that something you've been hearing about on doorsteps?
Certainly, it's come up a lot. I mean, this by-election is one where a lot of folks see what's going on. I think that's fair for all Canadians. They see what's going on in Gaza, and their heart breaks seeing the violence, seeing children being killed, seeing innocent lives being lost this way. It breaks their hearts. And they see Justin Trudeau and the Liberals fail to take action, to be a voice of justice and peace in the region. They see that Justin Trudeau has failed to even follow through on what we forced them to vote on, a motion that called for really concrete steps, like putting severe sanctions on Netanyahu and the war cabinet, putting in place an embargo on the trade of arms. The Liberals still found a way to wiggle out of that, and that's been really disappointing to people. So for many reasons, including this reason, people in LaSalle and Mervedon are saying, we're done with Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. They've let us down, they've failed us. And we said that they have a choice to stop the Liberals and to send a clear message that you're done with the failures of Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. You can vote for New Democrats and our candidate, Craig Sauvé, who's going to give back hope to the people of LaSalle and Mervedon, who's going to say we can build a brighter future together.
Bonjour, Christian Noël de Radio-Canada. Vous avez parlé du prix plafond sur certains éléments essentiels de l'épicerie, notamment comme mesure que vous aimeriez voir adoptée. Le Parti conservateur et Pierre Poilievre aussi se préoccupent du coût de la vie. Est-ce que vous êtes prêt, dans un nouveau gouvernement minoritaire qu'on est en train de vivre, à collaborer avec Pierre Poilievre pour faire adopter cette mesure-là dont vous parlez?
Donc, cette mesure que j'ai proposée, on a déjà vu la réponse des conservateurs et de Pierre Poilievre. Cette mesure, c'est une mesure pour dire non aux grandes entreprises d'épicerie qui arnaquent les gens. Et c'était quoi le vote de Pierre Poilievre et les conservateurs? Ils ont voté avec les grandes entreprises d'épicerie, contre les gens. Ils ont déjà se positionner, ils ont donné leur position et donné leur avis, leur volonté. Ils ne veulent pas réduire le coût de vie pour les gens. Ils veulent protéger les profits massifs, les profits records de ces grandes entreprises. Mais ce n'est pas surprenant. La directrice de la campagne des conservateurs, Jenny Burns, est une lobbyiste pour la plus grande entreprise d'épicerie au Canada. On sait que le chef adjoint du Parti conservateur, Melissa Landsman, était une lobbyiste, ancienne lobbyiste pour Walmart. On sait que le président du caucus conservateur est maintenant aussi le président pour une entreprise canadienne qui est maintenant dans une enquête s'ils ont fixé le prix du pain. Donc, c'est clair que c'était un parti qui veut protéger les profits de ces grandes entreprises au lieu de les arrêter. Nous sommes le seul parti qui est prêt à dire non aux ces grandes entreprises qui vous arnaquent et oui aux gens.
Donc, ce que j'en comprends, c'est que travailler avec les conservateurs, pour vous, c'est non. Deuxième question, si on regarde le fait d'avoir déchiré l'entente, ça vient de donner plus de pouvoir au Bloc québécois pour négocier avec les libéraux. Est-ce que ça vous met dans une position plus difficile? Est-ce que le Bloc québécois a davantage de pouvoir que vous venez de leur donner finalement?
Donc, dans la prochaine session, on va voir c'est quoi la décision du gouvernement libéral. Ils ont tous les outils pour avancer avec les mesures qu'on a forcé Justin Trudeau et les libéraux de faire. S'ils veulent aller de l'avant avec, par exemple, l'assurance médicaments, on peut le faire. Mais c'est une question pour les libéraux. Est-ce qu'ils étaient honnêtes? Est-ce qu'ils veulent vraiment aider les gens? On va voir. Mais de notre côté, on va continuer d'utiliser notre pouvoir pour donner le relève aux gens, pour donner un coup de main aux gens. On va continuer de présenter notre vision pour le Canada. Une vision de ramener l'espoir, d'arrêter les grandes entreprises qui vous arnaquent, ou la vision des conservateurs, c'est une vision de coupure. Et Justin Trudeau a laissé tomber les gens. Donc ça, c'est les choix dans la prochaine session. On est là pour vous. On va continuer de se battre pour vous.
Bonjour, M. Singh. Boris Proulx du Devoir. Il y a 2 élections partielles en ce moment à Winnipeg et une ici à Montréal. Si les électeurs n'accordent pas la confiance à votre parti, ni à Winnipeg, ni à Montréal, est-ce que votre leadership est en jeu?
Je vais être le leader qui gère notre parti dans la prochaine élection, mais je peux parler de ces 2 élections partielles. Les gens vont avoir un choix important dans ces 2 élections. Un choix ici à la salle Émile-Verdun, le choix c'est clair. On a un gouvernement libéral avec un premier ministre Justin Trudeau qui vous prend pour acquis, qui a laissé tomber les gens. Et vous pouvez envoyer un message clair que non, on rejette Justin Trudeau et les libéraux ont choisi Craig Sauvé et l'NPD, un parti qui va continuer de se battre pour vous. Donc, dans la prochaine élection, le choix est aussi clair. Comme en Winnipeg, les gens aussi ont un choix entre la vision de coupure des conservateurs ou une vision d'espoir avec l'NPD. Je pense que le choix est clair.
Mr. Singh, can you English, please?
Yes, for sure. I will be the leader taking us to the next election, and I am running to be the next prime minister of this country. And speaking about the by-elections, people have an important choice in these by-elections. In LaSalle and Verdun, people have a choice to say no to liberals who've taken you for granted, to Justin Trudeau, who has let big corporations in the grocery sector rip you off. You can say no to him, and yes to Democrats who've got your back and are going to fight for you. And the broader question for the election that follows, where people will have a choice of the vision of conservatives and Pierre Poilievre, who want to cut the things that you need. This is a choice for people in Winnipeg. You want to go back to the conservative vision to cut the things you need? The people in Winnipeg rejected that vision in the most recent election. They rejected the conservative vision of cutting and giving to their rich buddies. That's exactly what Pierre Poilievre wants to do. And so in Winnipeg, people have a choice. They can go with New Democrats who are going to bring back hope. And our candidate, Leela Dance, who says no to corporations that want to rip you off and yes to people. Or a choice of conservatives who want to cut your dental care program, want to cut your pensions, cut the things that you need. I think the choice is clear.
J'aimerais quand même avoir une réponse à ma question, M. Singh, en suivi. Si jamais les électeurs, face à ce choix, disent non à Winnipeg, non à votre parti, et s'ils disent non aussi à votre parti à LaSalle et Verdun, avec quelle légitimité vous allez rester en poste à la tête de votre parti?
Je vais être le chef pour amener notre parti dans la prochaine élection parce que je veux devenir le prochain premier ministre de notre pays. Et je sais que les gens ont un choix important dans les prochaines élections partielles. Et je veux encore répéter le fait que le choix, c'est vraiment clair. Une vision des coupures conservatrices, une vision des libéraux qui en prennent pour acquis le vote des gens, qui ont laissé tomber les gens, ou les néo-démocrates qui se battent pour vous. On a déjà vous montré qu'on peut créer on peut faire des grandes choses avec les soins dentaires. Et aussi, on peut arrêter les grandes entreprises qui vous arnaquent et réduire les prix de vos factures. On peut faire ça ensemble. On peut arrêter les coupures de conservateurs ensemble. Et ça, c'est la vision pour les prochaines élections.
Good morning, Mr. Singh, or afternoon, Taria Esri, Global News. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said, in his words, you are just blowing smoke by tearing up the deal with the Liberals and that you will not trigger an election before October 2025. So how do you respond to his criticism and criticism from others that this was political posturing?
I think Doug Ford needs to worry about delivering health care for people in Canada instead of being obsessed with alcohol. People in Ontario can't get the health care they need. They're struggling with the cost of living, and he's obsessed with alcohol and convenience stores. Like, I don't know any person that I've spoken to when I tour Ontario, when I'm in the communities, that say that that's their number one pressing issue. They say we need to be able to afford our groceries. We need to be able to find a home that we can afford. We need to get health care. And I think Doug Ford should focus on those things instead of being stuck on Twitter. Also, my message is very clear. We have ripped up the agreement with the Liberals and Justin Trudeau, and that means we know that an election date is more likely. We are going to continue to make decisions that are in the best interest of Canadians. We're not going to be goaded by Conservatives. We're going to be making a decision that's in the best interest of Canadians on anything that comes forward. That's how we're going to manage the next session. And we're going to be talking about our plan, actually, in these next couple of days with our team about how we're going to continue to fight for Canadians and build a better life for them.
When the House returns, what are your specific red lines when it comes to voting down the government?
We'll be discussing more of our specific vision for what the next session is going to look like, and so we'll have a press conference tomorrow where we get into some more details on that. But I can tell you generally, this is our focus. We know that the two things that we have heard most often from Canadians is that they have a hard time, impossible time finding housing. That is a concern. No matter what income level you are, no matter what stage of life you are, everyone is worried about housing, whether for themselves, for their kids, for their neighbors, for the people around them. People are struggling when it comes to finding a home. We need to find solutions to that. And the second thing that we hear again and again is the cost of groceries. It is so hard right now. You're going into a grocery store, spending more than ever before and leaving with less than ever before. And at the same time, those corporate grocery stores are making record profits. Not just like good profits, record profits. And so something has to give. And we're proposing real solutions to stop them from ripping you off. Better penalties so they can't rip you off, things like they did with the bread price fixing, and putting in place concrete proposals like a price cap to immediately lower the price of groceries. We've seen that Justin Trudeau and the Conservatives under Pierre Poilievre voted against our plan to immediately give people relief by putting in a price cap. And it shows that they're on the side of these big corporate grocery stores that are making massive profits instead of being on your side. We have shown whose side we are on very clearly. We're on your side.
Afternoon, Mr. Singh. Stephanie Taylor with the National Post. Going back to by-elections, you've laid out that Canadians in these ridings have a choice. If they don't choose the NDP and they don't choose you, why should you stay on as leader?
I will be the leader taking us to the next election because I want to be the next Prime Minister of this country. And I know you're asking me to look at a hypothetical. I'm not going to answer the hypothetical, but I will point out again that people do have an important choice in this by-election. And that by-election, these by-elections are important choices for Canadians. And we are putting our vision for this country in those by-elections. Here in La Salle-et-Mère-Verdun, people have been let down by Justin Trudeau. I hear that. I'm sure you've heard that. People feel really let down. They feel angry and frustrated. Well, here's a chance to send a message. You can say no to Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, and you can say yes to New Democrats, who have shown you that we fight for you, we deliver for you, and we're going to continue to fight for you. In Winnipeg, people have, again, the choice about what is the vision of their country. They want to go back to the Conservative cuts they saw under Pallister and Stephenson in the Manitoba provincial government, back to the cuts of Conservatives federally. They want the vision of Pierre Poilievre's cuts. It was very clear that he's going to cut your pensions, your EI, healthcare. He wants to cut. He's going to take things from bad to worse. Or our vision, which is about building up our country, building up our healthcare, investing in people, taking care of people. That's what we believe as New Democrats. We are better off when we take care of each other. That's our vision for the future.
Do you see, though, as someone who's led this party for a number of years now and is staring down an election where you're low in the polls, it seems that the NDP saddled itself to a prime minister who one of your MPs today said was radioactive. Do you see these by-elections as a test of your leadership? I understand you want to stay on, but do you see them as a test of your leadership and the direction you've provided to this party up until now?
I see them as an important choice for Canadians. I see these next by-elections as an important choice that Canadians will have to make. And the choices, I think, are very clear, the type of vision that you have for our country. And we have a very concrete vision of our future for our country. We believe we are all better off when we take care of each other, when we look after one another. And we believe that we got to take care of our neighbors. And to do that, we've got to take on corporate greed. When big corporations are ripping you off at the grocery stores, when big corporate landlords are jacking up your rent, who's going to have your back and fight for you? That's New Democrats. The Conservatives have already chosen whose side they're on. They're on the side of those big corporate giants. They've sided with them again and again. We've sided with people. So in the next elections, the next by-elections is an important choice. People can choose the cuts of Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives or the hope of New Democrats.
I was saying, Bill Curry from the Globe and Mail. I think Canadians watching might hear a bit of a disconnect in your message today where you're saying the Liberals are done, you're done with the Liberals, and all of your comments are focused on the Conservatives, but neither you nor any of your MPs seem to be actually itching for an election. And so for Canadians who are a bit confused by that message, what's your response?
Well, we ripped up the agreement with the Liberals. We know that puts an election date as a more uncertain thing. We're in a minority government now, so we're going to make decisions that are in the best interest of Canadians. We're going to fight like we have in the past. We've shown you before that we can fight and deliver for you. We're going to do the same thing. And there will be an election. When that election comes, I think the choice is very clear. People are absolutely fed up with and done with Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. So the choice then becomes, what type of change do you want? And that is an important question for Canadians. Do you want the change that Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre propose, which is to cut things that you need, taking us from bad to worse? Or do you want more hope under New Democrats, who've shown you that we can build a brighter future with things like our dental care program? We can build a better future where you can afford a home, where you can afford your groceries. That's the choice that Canadians have in the next election, whenever it comes.
Parliament is scheduled to resume next week. On a clear confidence motion for this government, how would you vote?
Like I've said before, we're going to look at every vote and make a decision that's in the best interest of Canadians. So I'm not going to presuppose the outcome of a vote. We will look at each vote and make a decision. Our team and I are going to discuss that actually over the next couple of days, how we want to deal with different votes, and we'll let you know as soon as a vote comes in front of us.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Najud Amelie, the Canadian Press. Pierre Poilievre has really shot up in the polls on a very conservative message about smaller government, less bureaucracy, more individual freedom. Why do you think your party will appeal to Canadians more than Pierre Poilievre when you are running on being towards the left of the Liberals of more spending, bigger government, and more social programs?
That's not actually our vision. I want to be very clear about our vision. I want to be clear about Pierre Poilievre's vision. I think people need to know what Pierre Poilievre is really about. Pierre Poilievre wants to cut your pension. So to a senior who's working hard, who is barely getting by, who's worked really hard their life and is barely getting by on a pension, Pierre Poilievre wants to cut that pension. To a worker who works a seasonal job, who relies on employment insurance to get them through the tough times, Pierre Poilievre wants to cut your employment insurance. To people that are saying that I can't get a doctor right now. I don't know how I can get a doctor. I don't know if I can wait the months and months to get the care that I need. I'm in so much pain. How do I get through this time? Pierre Poilievre wants to make that wait time even longer because he's going to cut in health care. That's the vision of Conservatives, cutting the things that you need and giving to his rich buddies. That is what Conservatives do. Look at their history. They cut from people, and they certainly give, but they give to rich corporations and their CEO buddies. That's who they're going to give to. Our vision is we are all better off when we take care of each other. We're better off when we look after one another. We're better off when our healthcare system is strong and is there for you if you ever need it. We're better off when people can have the ability to retire with dignity, when a pension is strong and is there for you when you need it. That's what we believe in. That's our vision. Our vision is a Canada where we look after one another, where we build each other up. The Conservatives want to tear it down. That's really the choice in the next election.
The federal government is closing the taps on temporary foreign workers and has suggested that they may reduce the number of permanent residents they let in every year into the country. Can you lay out your party's stance? Do you think that the government should be slowing the pace of population growth right now?
Let me take those piece by piece. So starting with the temporary foreign workers. This is a program that was started by Conservatives. So let's be very clear. Conservatives brought this in as a hookup for their rich conservative corporate buddies. And what temporary foreign workers did was allow for workers to get exploited. It is something New Democrats have always opposed. We're a party of working people, of labor. We're opposed to the exploitation that temporary foreign workers and that program presents. That exploits the foreign worker, and it also drives down wages in our country. So we are opposed to that. That should be the absolute last measure. We should always find ways to ensure that Canadians are employed first and foremost before we look at any other alternatives. So that's our vision. We believe that Canadians should get jobs first, that we should not see any exploitation of people, and this program has been one that's exploited workers. In general, for immigration numbers, we need to make sure that our immigration meets our needs. That's the way it should be set. We know that we've got population aging. We know that we need to ensure that we are meeting a certain number for our population growth, and that we've got employers that are looking for workers, and we need to make sure that we're meeting our needs. Immigration should be set by what we need. And what is very clear on top of that, we need to build more homes that people can actually afford, and we need to make sure that we've got the workers to be able to build those homes. That's the way we should be setting our immigration. We should not fall into the traps of Conservatives that want to blame new Canadians for their own faults for having cut in the building of homes, and the Liberals who frankly fail to build homes that people can afford. That's our vision for the way we look at immigration.
Rachel Aiello, CTV News. You pulled out of this deal and gave the Liberals practically no notice. I'm just wondering, have you talked to Trudeau since you broke up this deal, and have you gotten any indication from the Liberals that they would indulge any further demands, let alone take your calls, heading into the fall sitting?
Well, I've not reached out, no, and we're not trying to strike up a new deal, so I don't care to have another conversation. What our plan is, when it comes to a vote, if they want our support, there's got to be a benefit for Canadians. And that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at every vote that's presented in front of us and say, does this help Canadians? Does this help lower the cost of groceries? Does this help build homes that are affordable? Does this make life better for Canadians or not? And we'll make a decision based on each vote as it comes in front of us.
And the Liberals have tapped Mark Carney to help advise them on economic productivity. I'm just wondering, what's your plan to boost economic growth?
Well, just on the tapping of Mark Carney or enlisting his aid, it does not change the fact that when push comes to shove, again and again, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals have sided with big corporations over people. They've done that again and again, and it has hurt people. When they side with big corporate grocery stores, it means they can continue to rip you off and jack up the price of your groceries. You end up paying more, and they end up making bigger profits. So they've chosen to side with big corporations when push comes to shove, whether it's corporate landlords that continue to make massive profits while jacking up rents and rent evicting tenants. They continue to choose the wrong side. And so I don't think it changes who they enlist to help them. Their vision, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, has been to side with the ones that are hurting Canadians. We've been constantly saying we need to build a country that puts workers first, that puts people first. And that's what we're going to continue to do.
En français sur Mark Carney, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, bien sûr. Donc, je pense que la décision d'avoir l'aide de Mark Carney ne change rien pour le fait que Justin Trudeau et les libéraux ont toujours choisi les grandes entreprises dans le cas des grandes entreprises d'épicerie, dans le cas des propriétaires des grands édifices. Ils ont toujours choisi d'aider ces grandes entreprises au lieu des gens, et le résultat, c'est que les gens payent le prix. Plus une augmentation de coûts d'épicerie, une augmentation des loyers. Donc, notre vision, c'est clair. On est là pour bâtir un pays où on favorise les gens, les travailleurs, au lieu des grandes entreprises.
Bonjour, M. Singh, Mylène Crête de la presse. Il y a un élément dans votre entente que vous n'avez pas eu le temps de concrétiser, c'est d'adopter une loi sur les soins de longue durée sécuritaires. Est-ce que vous avez complètement fait une croix là-dessus? C'était clair que les libéraux ne s'occupent pas de cet enjeu. C'était quelque chose qui, vraiment, pendant la pandémie, ça brisait le cœur, le fait que nos aînés qui habitent en particulièrement dans les centres privés, il y avait un grand écart entre la situation pour les gens dans les centres à but non lucratif ou au centre public et au centre privé
On a vu les pires conditions dans les centres privés. Donc, on a vraiment voulu faire quelque chose pour changer ça. C'était clair que les conservateurs et les libéraux, les deux, sont du côté des centres privés et ne veulent pas faire les changements nécessaires. Et on va continuer de se battre pour nos aînés. Et je pense que ce qu'on doit faire, on va faire ce travail quand nous devienne le prochain gouvernement et je suis le prochain Premier ministre. Ça, c'est quand on peut vraiment faire les changements nécessaires.
OK, donc je comprends qu'il n'y avait pas d'appétit du côté libéral là, pour faire ça. On reproche souvent aux libéraux, justement à cause des nouveaux programmes qu'ils ont inclus, d'avoir fait augmenter le déficit. Vous craignez pas de porter le poids de cette opinion des électeurs?
Je pense qu'on doit être vraiment raisonnable avec nos dépenses. Et il y a des coupures qu'on doit faire, mais pas les coupures de conservatrices, de couper en santé ou couper les pensions, mais on doit couper les subventions pour les grandes entreprises pétrolières. Ce sont des subventions, des milliards de dollars qu'on ne doit pas dépenser. On doit dépenser, on doit arrêter les dépenses où le gouvernement libéral et Justin Trudeau ont dépensé des centaines de millions de dollars pour les consultants. Ça, c'est aussi quelque chose qu'on doit occuper. Donc, il y a des coupures qui vont aider les gens. On doit être raisonnable, mais pas les coupures conservatrices dans les pensions, les santé, mais on doit couper, comme j'ai dit, les subventions pétrolières. Et on doit être vraiment raisonnable avec l'argent précieux de la public et le dépenser dans une manière qui est prudente et raisonnable. We need to be very, very responsible and very prudent with the way we use public money. I think it's very important to take it seriously, and Canadians are worried about that. One of the things that we've seen is that the Conservatives want to cut people's essentials. They want to cut health care. They want to cut pensions. That's wrong. But there are things that we should be cutting. We should be cutting the billions of dollars in public money that goes in subsidies to oil and gas sector. Why would we be doing that? I mean, that makes no sense. These are highly profitable companies that are getting public money. Like, that should stop for sure. That's something that we concretely believe should stop. We also think that the hundreds of millions of dollars that Liberals and, frankly, Conservatives before them spent on outside consultants, that should stop as well. We're losing hundreds of millions of dollars that should instead, we should be able to have our public servants, our public service do that work. So there are cuts that we could do to be more responsible, but not the conservative cuts to the things that you need, but to the waste of these subsidies to highly profitable oil and gas companies and to outside consultants.
Hi, Mr. Singh. David Thurton from CBC News. The Bloc Québécois leader, Yves-François Blanchet, is already talking about how he plans to use his leverage and his party's votes in the House of Commons to win concessions for Quebec. So when you hear that, how does that affect the leverage that your party has? Do you admit that maybe you don't have any leverage right now? Maybe you just have to work with all the parties?
Well, I mean, it's really a choice for Justin Trudeau. What does he want to do? Like, he's got the ability to bring forward different bills, and we will look at those bills and say if we're going to support them or not based on if they're in the interest of Canadians. But he's got the ability to move forward on pharmacare. If he truly wanted to do that, he could do that. And so we're going to see what Justin Trudeau will do moving forward. But let us be clear. We have used our power to bring in something like dental care, which turns out disproportionately has benefited the people of Quebec. So the Bloc leader is going to have to answer the question why he wants to cut our program that's helping out his province and the people of his province in a disproportionate way. Why we want to cut that from the residents of this province, he'll have to answer why that's something he wants to do.
Okay, just another question. We've heard you over the last couple of days say that you are running to be Prime Minister. How are you going to turn things around for your party when it doesn't hold seats in Toronto? It only holds one seat in Quebec, doesn't hold any seats in Atlantic Canada. Like, those are important regions where if you want to be Prime Minister, either in a minority parliament or a majority, you need to pick up seats in those places. So how are you going to do that?
Well, we need to win in those seats for sure, and so we're gonna tell Canadians the choice that they have in the next election. It's a very important choice. And when you look at where people are at right now, if you walk around your communities, if you're at your local coffee shop, if you're at the grocery store, people will tell you that they are so frustrated with Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. They are done with the Liberals. So the choice in the next election is very important. And this is a choice that's going to be a choice that Canadians will make in Toronto, the Atlantic provinces, and across this country, in every part of this country. The choice for what type of change you want. And that change is a very important question. What type of change do Canadians want? Do they want the change that Conservatives propose to cut the things that you need, that Pierre Poilievre will cut your pension, cut your health care, make life even harder, take things from bad to worse, or the hope that New Democrats offer as change? The hope that we offer that we can actually build up a better country together, that united we can stop Conservative cuts, that united we can actually take on the big corporate grocery stores that are ripping you off. We can actually stop them from exploiting people, put in place better protections for Canadians. We can do this together. That's a choice in the next election. And we're going to take that choice to Toronto. We're going to take that choice to the Atlantic provinces. We're going to take that choice across this country.
That was our last question. This concludes this press conference. Ceci était notre dernière question. Ceci conclut notre conférence de presse. Merci.
Merci. Thank you very much. Merci. Thank you.